So this video has been a long time coming. I'm going to banish the 508c1a trust demons for good. The problem with the 508c1a as the contract at the center of the matrix is that it's an interesting process by which there's a templated private document that has to be modified slightly with certain personal information, like the name of the trustee, the grantor, the successor trustee, the address. Certain basic logistical things have to be modified. But outside of that, this is a templated contract. And so the problem that presents is, as the person who wrote it, when they start selling this and giving it out to people, inevitably there'll be some who take this information and rather than use it for their own personal and maybe their own just immediate household family, instead they take that information and now decide, well, someone gave me this information and now maybe I can just resell it. And not only one person has had that thought, but that thought's multiplied into a whole multitude of demonic forces that think these ideas are their own and they're trying to profit off of it for their own gain. And in this video, I'm going to be presenting clues and really calling out these people, not directly by name, but the smart ones who understand English will be able to interpret my words and start to look around you and see the landscape, hopefully in a more clear and transparent manner. So when it comes to deciding what information out there that you're looking at is fake and what is real, that is a skill that, that kind of discernment is a skill that is extremely important when it comes to your finances for obvious reasons. Because if you trust the wrong people and they lead you in the wrong direction, well, guess what? You're going to end up losing a lot of money, putting yourself at risk legally, lawfully. It's just going to be, there's so many negative externalities that you're going to expose yourself to by not doing your due diligence and doing your research, right? So I understand that. Anyone who's watching a channel like mine, you're not doing it because I'm really, really good looking. I know that. So you're going to be doing it because you're trying to find out something that is very niche, not often talked about, and not talked about in a transparent manner. There are many who talk about the 508c1a, but that's the interesting thing, and this is really the first point that I'll say, is that when you're trying to find truth, you need to distill something complex and make it as simple as possible. And that's where I see many of these so-called teachers who are presenting these bastardized versions of history and just all these colorful different ideas that they want to come up with. And they're taking something, with this private trust and with all the background around that, and they're presenting it as very complex with this terminology and these different processes that have to be applied for to the state and the federal government and all these different things that are very complex, intimidating, and typically stop most people from even getting started. And also, they obfuscate the simplicity of how you really should be getting started, which is, learning the words in the private trust contract that's at the center of everything, and then learning the step-by-step process, A, B, C, on how to execute and embody those words. So how do you notarize that contract? How do you then use that contract to do business? Those are the important things. It's not learning all this gobbledygook terms like suretyship and exclusive equity and then all the derivatives that you start to go down this freaking rabbit hole with like all this UCC crap and again, all kinds of like numbers and fucking shit that people throw at me every day. Almost all of that's irrelevant because people who are looking at that typically, they haven't done jack shit about protecting themselves, about putting their assets into a private trust, about taking things out of their straw man and so they're less exposed and to attack from anyone, from any kind of outside entity that would want to attack you, that would want to attack your family. So this is about embodiment. It's about actually doing something, not just pontificating on all these fancy philosophical terms in the law and in equity and blah, blah, blah. And here's the other thing. When we look at all these demons that are talking about the 508c1a openly now, look at how they act. You know, if you're going to use a contract where you're using the name of Jesus Christ, I would hope that you want to follow the common law and act in a way as Christ did, or any other prophet who had Christ consciousness. And what's interesting is many people like to use the name of Christ, but then when you look at their actions and how they represent themselves, very obviously they're doing things in a way that Christ in his time wouldn't do. And I'll give you some obvious examples. You know, people who are trying to not only profit off of this information, but do so in a way where they're just exalting themselves. You know, they're flying around on private jets, they're flashing all their expensive chains, their gold teeth. You know, even look at their names. I mean, if their names sound demonic, you know, that's probably a red flag too. Like if someone's name were to rhyme with demon kill them all, then maybe that would be a bad sign, right? So there are these hints that I'm giving you here where if you go out there and watch certain videos and see different content on all these different platforms, you're going to find the people that I'm talking about. And they are weaving lies from very strong threads of the truth. There are certain things they're saying which, yes, are truthful in that they're outlining certain realities of the matrix and the straw man and the private versus public, you know, aspect of this whole matrix and situation we're in. But just because they're using threads of the truth, when you really unpack what's beneath that, it's not about fucking gold chains and all this bullshit that they're talking about, and even all these fake historical narratives that I see people talking about. It's not about any of that. Trusts are about trust. I mean, that's the first obvious thing. It's about how do we trust the people that, you know, we're trying to protect and are in our charge, or our beneficiaries, but also how do we work with co-trustees? How do we use our assets in such a way where we control them and we don't own them? And it's such, you know, this is spiritual information as much as it is practical, pragmatic, economic, and business information. It's both. And that requires an intelligence to understand, it requires nuance, and it requires embodiment and not just talking about it. So, you know, all these people who have all these fancy fucking terminology and all these like gobbledygook, oh, just endless amount of bullshit out there. God. It's trapping people because you think you're doing your research and getting smarter. You're getting fucking dumber the longer that you're spending time doing that, and more entrenched into the lies and the hypocrisy of the devil. So it's about simplifying and then taking action on that simplicity. And if you want to find out how to do that, just join our free Bulletproof Retirement community. The step-by-step outline is in there about how we use the Trust at Liberty Academy and how we execute on that, and how I've done it, how, I mean, literally dozens and dozens of my clients have done it, many of them out in the open. You know, none of us are hiding what we're doing. Whereas all these trust demons, they're all hiding things for sure. You know, they're hiding things behind their chains, behind their watches, behind their jets, behind their women, behind their, just a list, the endless list of fucking shit that they're hiding behind. And in order to get to real truth, you all have to smarten up. Anyone who's gotten to this point in this video, hopefully, you've generated a certain karma in your life where you can start to see the lies from the truth and start to see the people that are representing things honestly. And look, it's a nuanced, complex truth. That's the you know, unfortunate or fortunate way it just is. You know, it's not the cookie cutter thing that gets millions of followers and everyone's like, oh, rah, 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 this is so amazing. No, it just requires so much effort to wrap your head around and resist the lies and the bullshit that everyone else is doing. So I wish you luck on your journey in figuring this all out. And, in terms of why you should even trust my opinion, well, the first thing is you shouldn't. You barely know me. But, I am making an effort to be as transparent as possible and also do things in a way where I am pointing people to my betters, to the people that I've learned from. And I'm not trying to obfuscate their truth. So anyone who joins my community will know that and will see that very clearly. And more than that, I've launched a new project, that's been building for a while, but I've been trying to understand why it is that with this information, the people that are really closest to the real truth, it's very hard for them not only to find each other, but it's very hard for them to logistically be around each other. It just is. It's expensive, it's just difficult. There's so many things in the world that will stop us and just prevent us from somehow, just doing that. And so I've been trying to figure out what is a way where I can, have more of an impact there in a way that's maybe more tangible and easier than, things like trust, which are very complex and can be expensive and just difficult to do for a lot of people. And so that's where I started the Helix Supper Club, where I've taken a team and a panel of some of the best doctors, chefs, plant medicine experts in the world, and we're curating not just an online experience for people, but we're curating pop-ups in the real world of, a really amazing quality and ceremonial type of food and plant medicine to heal our bodies, nourish our souls, and also get us seeing the world more clearly so that we can distinguish what are the lies, where is the truth, and how can we protect ourselves in the best way possible. And I'm trying to curate those conversations inside our supper club and ultimately meet people in person. So anyone who's brave enough to stand in front of me, I would welcome meeting you. So I'm also going to drop the link to the Helix Supper Club community below in the description. And I look forward to seeing many of you in there as well. So, discerning the truth from the lies, it takes nuance and it takes effort, and there's a whole infinite multitude of demons and liars out there, especially around this truth. And you're going to have to use your best discernment and your best judgment to filter through that. It's a very difficult thing, and I understand. And anyone who wants further clarification, I welcome questions. Join my communities, and I hope to see many of you in there. Good luck, and I'll see you all in the next one.